Back to us here at the Santon Convention Centre, and you're back with us because Minister Rob Davies has just come across. And Minister, thanks so much for coming through.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
And of course today it's all about the business forum and what's likely to happen there. But I was talking earlier about, the sheer scale of this production here, and I want to call it a production because there's just so many parts to it. And you have 1,100 accredited delegates to the business forum this morning. What are your expectations? What are you hoping will come out of this?
Well, I think the Business Forum is a long-established institution within the BRICS framework. There's also, we proposed this and it was adopted since the last time we hosted BRICS in eThekwini about 5 years ago. And that was that we would establish a regular meeting of a smaller group of business people called the BRICS Business Council. They had their annual meeting down in eThekwini on Sunday, and they had a session on investment. I had an opportunity to participate there. I think what we're looking at is driving of intra-BRICS cooperation really needs to happen with business-to-business cooperation, practical project level interaction between businesses. And I think that this bigger business forum is an opportunity for business people from the 5 BRICS countries to get together and to have conversations about business-to-business ventures that they can be part of. Our overall message in the BRICS Business Council was that the way we need to move forward is the phrase I was coining, which is what we've been trying to do in the African continent as well, as the African continent also moves towards industrialization and as we move into the continental free trade area, is we need to be supporting and promoting investment-led trade. Not just trade per se, where one or other of us is putting finished products in everybody else's markets, but where investments are actually going to be supporting the development of productive forces, moving up value chains, and where our trade is going to be characterized by more intermediate goods trade, which is actually the biggest component of international trade right now. So I think that we're looking at practical business cooperation, and I think the BRICS Business Council has laid a very good basis. They've got a report they'll be presenting to the heads of state tomorrow, but this meeting will also be graced later on by the heads of state and representatives of some of the countries where the head of state or government is not here yet. But I think this will be an opportunity for business people from the 5 BRICS countries to engage with our government leaders as well.
Minister, you talk about the investment-led trade relationships that are struck here. But what about the trickle-down effect? Is this just about the multinationals, the 1,100 big businesses who were able to get into this summit? What about, someone sitting somewhere trying to start a business from scratch? How does this trickle down to that level?
Well, I think one of the features of BRICS these days is that there's a growth of cooperation, and that it has included growth in small business cooperation. So there was an event hosted by my colleague, the Minister of Small Business Development, a few days ago. So there is that kind of cooperation as well. And I think there's plenty to learn from other BRICS countries about how they promote inclusive value chains that include entry for small businesses in those value chains in their own countries. But also then we've got things like the fourth industrial revolution, the new technologies that are coming and are going to bring about disruptive change. And I think that there's, among the BRICS countries, there are a variety of experiences and some leadership. And this partnership gives us an opportunity to try to find ways and pathways towards a collaborative relationship in which we can roll out these technologies in an inclusive way. And I think that's the real emphasis that we want to put, which is the theme of the BRICS, shared prosperity in the fourth industrial revolution and inclusive growth in the fourth industrial revolution.
And just a final one about the visa requirements between the BRICS nations, and what sort of developments have you made the strides in that regard?
Well, there has been for many years a proposal about movement of business people. I think we have implemented some of the obligations that have arisen from those recommendations ourselves with South Africa, but I'm sure that there will still be more issues. And what we are trying to do through Invest South Africa is ensure that where there is a need for business people or skilled technicians and whatever to come into our country, that we make this a relatively seamless process.
Minister Rob Davies, thank you so much. And of course, the minister's off now to that business forum, which is, of course, going to take center stage here at the BRICS summit. And we will be here. So do stay tuned to SABC as we bring it all to you live and direct as far as we are allowed to. And we're going to go to a break.